Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Owen talks about sports and movies. Thank you for checking out today's video. Always appreciate the support. Let's get into it. So, recently, Chris Paul, James Harden, and Russell Westbrook, respectively, have all been in trade rumors. And so, I'm just going to break down the best trade targets for them, respectively, where they would fit best, and how it would all work. Thank you for checking out today's video. I know I haven't posted in a while, but I appreciate when you come back. Let's get into it. So I do apologize for not having posted in a little while. Nothing really too excited has been going on and in the sports world, and with no movie stuff coming out, um, it's been really nothing to talk about. But just yesterday, a lot of trade rumors really ramped up about Chris Paul and Russell Westbrook and James Harden. So I'm gonna go through and just break down everybody's best trade destinations where they would want to go and everything like that. So I'm gonna start with Chris Paul. I believe that Chris Paul's draft stock or trade stock right now is really high, simply because he had a really good season this past year, and he led a Thunder team that was not supposed to make the playoffs. They only had a .2 chance of making it per ESPN to the playoffs, pushed the Rockets to 7 games, and I think that any point guard needy team should be trying to do their best to land him. A team that really had not been in the discussion for Chris Paul until yesterday was the Suns. I think a pairing of Devin Booker and Chris Paul would be super good. You could take some pressure off of Devin Booker. He doesn't have to consistently handle the ball 24/7. And I think Chris Paul would be really nice with their young guys. I'm sure they'd have to give up a few of them, but I think the Suns, I mean, it's an interesting landing spot. I don't know if they're the forefront or the team that absolutely needs Chris Paul, but if they're ready to make the playoffs, ready to try to pursue Devin Booker to stay, then landing Chris Paul would show them that they're willing to make an aggressive move. Really, a team that I haven't really heard any buzz until yesterday as well is the Clippers. Apparently, Kawhi has been recruiting Chris Paul in secret, and how poetic would that would be? Chris Paul return to the Clippers, a team that desperately needs a point guard and that needs someone to gel them together, create the team chemistry that they really lacked last season. The only problem is I do not believe that the Clippers have the necessary assets to trade for Chris Paul. Um, I mean, it's just simply that they already traded all their assets for, well, Paul George. And so, I mean, I think fit wise, it's fantastic. However, I do not believe that they have the assets necessary. If they could pull it off, go for it. But I don't think they have the assets. And then New York, I mean, then the Knicks are just desperate for a star. They'll take anybody at this point. Chris Paul would obviously elevate them, make them better. I think him alongside RJ Barrett and Mitchell Robinson would be a really interesting core. But I think the two teams I'm going to talk about next desperately need Chris Paul more than anybody else in the league. And I think they have somebody that, or they have a package that would be good for Chris Paul. That's Milwaukee and Philadelphia. I think in Philly's case, if they got Chris Paul, they would have to get rid of Ben Simmons, which is okay. That's Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. I really don't think their fit is just good at all. Um, but you know, Paul, Embiid, retool, get some shooters around there. That's one heck of a roster right there. That would be absolutely fantastic. But Milwaukee, man, if they could get Chris Paul, there's no doubt in my mind Giannis stays. Even if they don't win, it just shows that Milwaukee's aggressive enough and willing to make a trade to keep Giannis there. And Chris Paul and Giannis, that'd be a deadly pick and roll. Giannis could just get the ball in the paint, wouldn't have to worry about getting uh, walled out of the paint or anything like that. I think a Chris Paul and Milwaukee trade would be fantastic. Next, I'm going to go to Russell Westbrook. Westbrook's not quite as seamless because it's a hard transition for him to transition into anywhere. Um, yeah, the Clippers need a point guard, but I don't think they need Chris Paul. The Knicks, I mean, Russell Westbrook could take the Knicks to the playoffs as their number one option. Definitely, no doubt. He could definitely get them in a weak East. Probably the same with the Bulls, and he does not need to go to Miami. I don't even know why this I think it was Clutch Points or FW or one of those websites like that was proposed that, but that didn't even make sense. Miami should not make that trade, would not make that trade. Um, no. But I think Russell Westbrook's interesting. I think out of him and James Harden, he most definitely wants out more. And it's just hard because Russell Westbrook can't shoot. And in a league where shooting is at is all-time importance, that's definitely a deterrent of how valuable he really is. But he plays hard. He can, he's a floor raiser, but he's also a ceiling topper. A Russell Westbrook led team cannot go super far in the playoffs. So I think it'd be really interesting. I think probably the best landing spot for him would be the Knicks, or just somewhere where he could be the top dog and not share the ball. I don't think any contender should trade for him. I don't think he's the missing piece to put them over the top. And James Harden, who I think out of these three, he's the least likely to get traded for sure. He came out with a wish list earlier uh, yesterday, and his top three teams were Philadelphia, Miami, and Brooklyn. Um, I'm not going to go into detail about the Philadelphia trade because I actually made a video just recently about it, so I'll make sure to link that. But Miami, I mean, hell, I mean, I think that would be really good. I think they'd have to get rid of Hero and Robinson and stuff like that. And those are kind of culture guys. I don't know if I necessarily make that trade for Harden, but just because those guys are so important to your culture and the type of build. But at the end of the day, you got to try to win chips. Uh, I mean, I think a core of him and Bam and Butler, well, I mean, that'd be good enough to win the East again. So, I mean, that would be interesting. But I think Brooklyn, uh, maybe out of these three, I mean, not it'd be hard for Brooklyn just because Harden, Kyrie, and KD, they would all want the ball. They'd all be ball dominant. I'm not sure how that worked from a chemistry standpoint, but I mean, they've got the pieces to, uh, my opinion, give or put together a nice package for him. So I think that would be interesting too. But I think that these are all the best spots for these guys. I would watch Chris Paul to get moved. Russell Westbrook and Chris Paul are definitely going to get moved. I see Russ maybe going to a not so good team. Chris Paul being the missing piece to a contender. And I'm not sure where James Harden is going to end up. I really hope he ends up in Philly just because I feel like it would really work. And if you want to see more in detail why, make sure you click the linked video at the end. All right, thank you for watching today's video. Make sure you check out all the link content, especially that James Harden 76ers trade video I talked about. Thank you. You have a great day.